This is a part of telling the story of the Holocaust, and not just telling it historically, but reminding us why we have to be ever vigilant about the things that happened.
In 1941, Riva Hirsch and her family were captured by Germans and taken by cattle cars to concentration camps in Germany. Today, she tells her story across America to educate others on the Holocaust.
We have to go around telling the story because there's a lot of denial going around. If we're not going to open the doors and the windows, especially for the students, the future is in their hands. It's very important that another Hitler will never show up again.
Riva described graphically the deplorable conditions that she lived through during the Holocaust.
But it's unbelievable what I went through, to see the dead bodies, to step with my feet on smaller babies than 7. Piles and piles and piles of babies. And what bothers that still now goes around the Niles that the Holocaust never happened. It did happen.
Hal Fulmer says that hearing this story is a reminder of the good that one individual can do.
There's incredible lessons here. The will to survive, why it matters that we take the stands that we do. It's a reminder about the good that a single person can do. I'm Hal Fulmer. My role at the university is to be the Dean of Undergraduate Studies and First-Year Studies and to be a part of what we do here academically. And on behalf of Dr. Jack Hawkins Jr., our Chancellor, and our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Earl Ingram, I want to welcome you here to Troy. I want to remind you, as a part of the activities for today, that Mrs. Hirsch will be speaking with us over the course of the next hour, and then next door in the Hawkins Adams Long building that we refer to as Hal Hall, there is an exhibit, and I would encourage you to take a moment to walk through, entitled Parallel Journeys. And it's a very interesting exhibit done on panels which reflect the lives of a number of individuals who were touched by the Holocaust, including some that are very well known like Anne Frank and some that are lesser known. But let me encourage you just to take a quick spin there through the lobby area and take a look at those panels as well. I want to thank the Alabama Humanities Foundation, who is one of our sponsors of today's event, our Birmingham Holocaust Education Center, which is such an important part of these activities. I want to thank Chris Schaefer and Dan Puckett, who serve on the statewide Holocaust Commission, but who are also members of our Troy University family. Chris is our Dean of Libraries and Dan is a professor of history, and also my much better half, Judy Fulmer, and her staff in sponsored programs who've made this possible. Today we're going to have an opportunity to hear the story of Mrs. Riva Hirsch, and I'm going to let her tell her story with relatively few interruptions. It is a remarkable journey that begins in her village when she is about 7 years old in 1941. It progresses through the camps of the Holocaust. It progresses from there through a time of liberation, a journey that ends up headed toward a better place, but is detoured into Palestine and Cyprus, and eventually gets to Israel, and from there eventually comes to Birmingham. We welcome her as a citizen of the world, as a survivor, as a storyteller, and as an Alabamian. Would you please join me in welcoming Mrs. Riva Hirsch?
Good morning. First of all, I want to thank the University of Troy. I want to thank Dan. I want to thank Mr. Schaefer. I want to thank you and your beautiful wife and all the students to make this time coming down to hear a little bit about my life. I'm Riva Hirsch. My maiden name was Schuster. I come from a place, it's called Novoselets. My brothers, when they were born, was Romania. When I was born, was occupied by the Russians. My family I was 2 brothers, and with us was living my grandmother, my mother's mother. We had a nice little house. We weren't rich, but we had everything. In back of our home, we had a little manufacturer. My father was a foyer. He used to make mink coats, mink hats, and all kind of stuff for the winter. And we had some people, non-Jewish people, working for us, and they were like family to us. In 1941, the war broke out in my town. I was 7 years old that time. My brother, the older one, was 3 years older than me. And then I had a younger brother with 2.5 years younger than me. One of the workers came running in the evening, knocking the door. My father went and opened the door, and he looked at him and he said, "Joe, listen, I came to tell you that I heard that something bad is going to happen in our area. I want you to be prepared with your family." My father thanked him. He closed the door. We kids were playing in a different room, and they did not want to scare us, my mother or father or my grandmother, to tell us. But it didn't take too long. Another gentleman came running that worked for my mother, and I happened to find out his name. His name was Joshua. He came running too and knocked in the door. Again, my dad opened the door. When my dad opened the second time the door, he already could have seen the sky, black. He could have smelled the human flesh. He could have heard the bombs flying around. And he said, "Joe, listen, leave soon you can." So my dad thanked him. He closed the door. He went into the other room and told my mother and my grandmother, "Now we have to do something. We have to tell the kids." So there was no choice. They came into the room and told us, "Listen, children, we have to leave the house." We weren't rich, like I said, but we had a ball, we had a doll, we had a bicycle. Mom says, "Nothing of that you'll be able to take, but we're going to make a couple of packages and we leave the house immediate." And they did make some packages and they gave us. We turned around, we left the house, we opened the door. My dad turns around and says, "I want you to kiss the mezuzah. We Jewish people have a mezuzah on the door, because I don't think that we ever gonna come back to our house." And we kissed the mezuzah and we left. While we were walking, the planes were going over our heads already. So where do you go? We start going walking at night to a forest. And it wasn't near, but we had to walk. We came to the forest almost. It started to get nasty. Mama turns around and says, "Joe, how about we going back to Joshua, the same guy that came to warn us the second time? He had a mill. Maybe he can put us out, because I don't know where we're going to end up with the children. It's nasty, it's dark, the planes are flying, the bombs we can hear." So we turned around and we said, we take a chance. And we walked to a little bridge. We came to his house. We knew he's home, because not long ago he came to our house. Dad knocks in the door. He did not answer. But we could have seen that he is home because it was a little light. So my mother turns around and says, "Let me do it." Pushes my father away. And she said, "Joshua, it's me, Fega. I have my diamonds. I have my earrings. I have my watch. I have everything. I want to give it to you. I don't think I'm going to need it forever. Please open the door. But before you do that, I want to ask you a favor." So his heart must break. He did open the door a little bit. Mama takes everything, rips off from herself, and hands it to him. And she says, "But Joshua, I want you to do me a favor. Take us to your mill, because we don't know where we're going. It's nasty. The planes are flying. The bombs we can hear. Put us out with the kids in your mill." It did take a while. He agreed to it. And we went to the same little bridge. we followed them, and we went to the mill. And we come into the mill, we're sitting down in the dock. We could have heard the bombs in the mill. My dear friends and students, it didn't take maybe, I cannot say time or days. It didn't take too long. He came running back, and he said, we have to leave the mill because the SS with the motorcycles are around this place. If they come in and they find that he had put us out, they're going to kill his family and us, which is true. They would kill his family too. So we had no choice, of course, picked up ourselves again, and where we go again? Again to the forest. Meantime, the packages that we had were gone almost. So at night, we used to look for a place to go where they work in the fields to see if we can grab something. And at night, back to the forest. We walked kilometers because in Europe, they don't have miles. Meantime, our shoes broke. We start filling up with ice, excuse me. The clothes were gone. We looked for anything that we can find to grab something to our mouth. And we kept on walking. While we were walking, my other set of grandparents lived in a place, it's called Hotin. My mother's mother said, maybe we should go to Hotin, maybe the Germans are not there. My dear friends, we walked to the end of the forest, they captured us. They surrendered us. I was holding down to my mother's skirt, my brother to the other side, my father to my other brother. They took my Bobby and threw her down. She died right away. They ripped us apart. My mother didn't let us go. So they took the baguette, they turned around, they beat her up to death. And they took me and they pushed me away. And I was crying. They were staying with the baguettes. And I wouldn't stop, they would shoot. And we had to stop and walk to a wall. And they put us out and they gave us the yellow star. Why? So they could recognize that we are Jews. And when they gave us the star, they said, we have to stay by the wall until the train will come. My dear friends and students, it was not a regular train. It was a train that carried cows, animals. They were coming from another place, that they collected the people from other places like my town. Before they stopped where I was staying in line, they opened the metal doors. Can you imagine a 7-year-old little kid to see? They opened the doors and threw out bodies, smaller children than 7, life or death, on the dead wires, with their boots. When it came my turn, they grabbed me by my braids, which they were full of lice, and they threw me into the train. I don't have a number, but I'm all wired up, which they throw me on the dead wires into that train. The train was awful. Can you imagine to step on little children like me, a 7-year-old, to step in the train on dead bodies? The kids, some of them that were alive, were crying for their parents, husbands for their wives. It was a mess. Excuse me. All over dirt. People died like flies. And you have to see that. And we came to a place, it's called Sucre. Again, They threw open the doors and threw out the people while the train was still going. And they put us again by another wall. And they stood with the baguettes next to you, with the dogs, the German dogs, with the bicycles. And if you moved on, they shot you like bees, like flies in front of me. My feet, they were shot, grown-ups and children. They did not care who they doing to. So I stood there again by the wall, and we came to Ukraine, and they told us they're going to take us to a better place. They always said they're taking you to a better place in Germany. So they took us to a place, it's called Mogilov. Now, Mogilov was a place that you could not go by car or by wagon. You had to go by ferry. What I did find out after the war, that they stole the doors, they took the gates from cemeteries, they made like ferries, they gave out numbers. Who got the number to go at night? They open in the middle like this line, and they drown them. And I know for a fact, my mother's two brothers and their family of 13 people were drowned in this Dniester. Me again, my number came to go in the morning. Why? God wanted me to survive, to be able to stay in front of you all and others, to be able to tell the story. So my number came to go in the morning, and in the morning they didn't do that. When I came in the morning to transfer me over, they marched me again. And while I was marching, and if I looked like this a little bit, you could have seen the dogs, the animals, ripping the bodies apart, that they were laying one on top of the other. My dear friends, that's me. You've seen somebody which is alive, not a book, not a newspaper, not a tape. It's the truth, because goes around a lot of denial that it never happened. I wish I could say it never happened. It did happen. So I came my number to go to the main camp. When it came to the camp, I couldn't walk anymore. I was a vegetable. I had lost my teeth. I didn't have no underwear. I didn't have nothing. I was naked. My feet were bleeding. And I had to march. And I came to the main camp. They gave me a little ball with a little medal and said they're going to hook me up and to go and stay in line. They called it, they're giving you a little soup. My dear friends, it was not even water while you were going. And I was crawling because I couldn't walk. And I couldn't stand up. When I came to get it, was nothing there. So I crawled back. And I didn't care. I said, this is not a life. I don't have nobody anymore. So I came back, crawled back, and lay down next to the dead bodies. I was laying. Can you imagine? And I was laying also more dead than alive. One day, a miracle happened. Some man came by and turned me over. I couldn't open my eyes. Like I said, the lights were my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner. I had all kind of furunculim on my body. Filthy, hunger. And I opened my eyes a little bit, and he put his hand on my mouth. And everything was in German. And he said to me, don't you dare cry. Don't you dare say a word in German. Now, Jewish is a little bit similar to German, so I understood, but I couldn't answer him. I couldn't talk. So I shook my hand, And again, I didn't care who is taking me, where he's taking me, if I get killed or anything. There was no life for me anymore. So he picked me up and he threw me on his shoulder. And he started running. I'm still running. He running, like I said, I cannot say miles or kilometers, but pretty far. And we came to a place that was a wagon. I didn't know it's a wagon, but he pushed me in and covered me up with hay. And he said to me, I'm leaving you something in German so you can breathe. But if they stop in the wagon, don't you dare play you dead. And I want you all to know that they stopped the wagon. Again, a miracle happened. They didn't go under. Because if they would go under, they would find me. And they let him go. And we were going to a place, it's called Tulchin. This is everything I find out after the war. I wanted to know what happened to my young age, where my family is, what happened to my family. So they went with me pretty far, I can say, maybe like to Atlanta, under this hay. And we came to a place, I find out it's called Tulchin. And we came at night. And 2 gates open, metal gates. And it was a convert. Me as a little Jewish girl, 7 years old, no education. I didn't know what it is. Again, I didn't care. Maybe they're going to kill me here. So I did that. Like my other family. One lady came out. And with my eyes that I couldn't open, I saw a lady with a white strip. And he threw me in her arms. And he ran away with the wagon. And she told me also spoke German. They all spoke German. We have to go fast, and I couldn't walk. So she schlepped me like you schlep a dog. And I couldn't walk. And she said, we have to go because the planes will see us. They circling around. And she put me under in like a little bunker, which I was laying underground. I find out that they had a couple of bunkers made, that they saved but 10, 12 girls, just little girls. I was laying under there from 1943 till 1945. They were my guardian angels. I was laying like a rabbit, my broken back, nothing. I had to go, excuse me, I had to go and rip the grass. They used to come once in a blue moon to bring me in. She said, we can't come every time because they're circling around. If they're going to observe that we are there, they're not going to know that we're hiding somebody. So they used to come when they could. They used to throw in a little bit of something. I was so sick that I didn't know what they're doing. So I looked around when I could. It was gone. My dear friends, probably animals, rats, or anything came in, and it was gone. And I was there by them laying in that bunker till 1945, until I was liberated. I didn't know what liberation means. One, not the same nun. I didn't know it's a nun. To me, I was thinking they Germans. She came and ripped out the little door, and she pulled me up at the legs, and I couldn't. She pulled me into our quarters and took off her rope, took off from themselves the ropes, towels. She started wrapping me around. She started giving me something, and she said, in German. Now you have to leave. You are free. Maybe somebody survived from your family. I didn't know what it means. To the same gates that I came in, to the same gate she let me out. But I couldn't walk, so I crawled on my knees and to the side, and I was laying on the sidewalk. Again, a miracle happened. A couple, they were liberated from another camp because the Ukraine had a lot of camps around the area. They themselves had malaria. They themselves had typhus. They themselves are full of lice. I heard she says to him, she is still alive. And I shake with my head. Then he said, do you speak Yiddish? I shake with my head. So he says to her, we cannot leave this kid alone here. Even we are sick ourselves, we're going to take her. They put me on their back, like a backpack, like you students are carrying your backpacks. And they carried me. And he said to me, where we go and you're going to go. All of a sudden, you know Europe, when they have the houses are connected to tile pipes, which is longer in the back. When the carriage passed, he took me off his back and right away he said to me, be strong, I know you can, I know you will make it, be strong, hold on. So maybe God gave me the strength and I hold on and I was going behind on the tailpipe pretty far. Meantime, across, somebody came and gave him a signal that somebody's hanging in the back of his tailpipe. He took the whip and he whipped me. He kept on going and I fell back again and I was laying on the road again. And I was laying and I couldn't walk. What I do here? So slowly, again I realized that I'm on the road, the car is coming, or the Germans, they're gonna kill me. So again I crawled over to the side. My dear friends, the same two people made it again to the same place where I fell down from the end of the carriage. And he says to her, here she is. Here she is again. He says, now we're not going to leave you anymore. We're going to take you. Where we're going, you're going to go with us. And they carried me again on their back, falling down, picking up, falling down, picking up, hungry, naked, bleeding feet, frozen, but we walked. Where do we walk? I didn't know, but they said there is a place, it's called Chernovitz. Now, Chernovitz was a town that, like Manhattan, very rich people lived there, and they had beautiful department stores. When the Germans came in, the people they took could camp, so they killed them. They took over the stores and made their quarters. When the Russian came in, they killed some of them, some ran away, and the Russian took her over. And it was the committee. The committee is the Red Cross. The Red Cross, God bless them. They took her over. Anybody that came from the Ukraine, naked, no food, no matter how, they took you in. They tried to clean you up from the lice. They tried to wrap you up. They tried to give you a little piece. I'm never going to forget the first time they gave me a little peel from an orange. This is in my mind. I'm never going to forget that. I didn't know what it is. And they give me a little bed, a little tiny, like you get the kids to the kindergarten when they take their time out to sleep, to relax. And they told me, you have to stay here Anybody that survives from your family must to come through here. My dear friends and students, I believe in miracles. My daddy survived with one leg, with a long beard, naked, filthy, also full of lies. He was going around looking for names, calling Mordechai, Izu, Rivale, my name, Rivale, Rivale. So I turned up and I looked up and I didn't know who he is, because he had a beard, naked, on one leg. And he says, I'm your papa. And I said, my papa. He started hugging me. I'm your papa. You stay with me. You're mine. And he stood with me for a while. And then he said, Rivale, I'm going to continue walking on one leg until I find maybe somebody else. He looked around in other cabins. It was a big, big place. It took him weeks. He did find my younger brother, dead than alive. After 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he passed away. Then he found my older brother. He passed away. My dear friends, I'm here to tell you, the future is in your hands, my dear students. It could happen again. We have to make sure that a thing like that should never, ever happen again. It happened here in the United States. We have to make sure it's not too late that another Hitler to come on. He did not kill just the Jews. He killed anybody that he could put a hand. Who knows how many of you had family that you never ever met in Europe, and they were killed by him. Because there is a lot of denial going on that a Holocaust never existed. Believe me, it's very hard for me. I'm 83, I'll be 84 years old, to sit right here and to tell you a little bit about my life. If I have to sit years, I'm never going to finish. We're not too many left. We in Birmingham were 19 survivors. We are left three, maybe 2 speaking. It's me and somebody else. When we will be away, it's going to be history. I want to thank all you professors, all you teachers, the deans, anybody, for opening the door to teach you all about the Holocaust. It's very important. Because like I said, it could happen. Right now, we have to take a chance to stop it. And I said to the students especially, go to classes, make yourself somebody, keep on the futures in your hands. And I want to thank you all for bringing me. Believe me, I look healthy. I'm not. I'm sitting here with a broken back from the bunker. My toes are frozen. In fact, I told the story. My son should rest in peace. I lost him, a big, with PhD, he's a doctor. He helped in surgery, died on the table 8 years ago. When he was small, he said, Mommy, we're going to the United States because you're going to give me the best education that you and Daddy never had. I want to be a doctor. I said, what kind of doctor, Harold? I want to be a dentist. Why? Because you don't have any teeth, Mommy. I want to make you teeth. And he became a dentist. He made me the implant. And then 2 years later, he passed away. Now my granddaughter took over, and she's one of the top 10 doctors in the United States for implants, in Coleman and in Jasper. I came here to give my children the best education. It's still the best country in the world. You've seen somebody, I speak 7 languages on my own. I never had an education, never went to a class. It's very important, the education, so you would know to fight to make sure that we never go through again. Now I have something to tell you, but my other set of do I have still time? My other set of grandparents that we were thinking maybe they're not there. We find out. My grandfather was very Orthodox. He had the pious rabbi, you know. And my Bobby made jam, and she made schmaltz. And the Germans came in, knocked on the door, and they took my grandfather by the beard out. My grandma grabbed them back. They shot them both on their steps. That's what they did. So here I am to give you a little bit. Like I said, if I have to talk here, it will take days and I'm never going to finish. And I have something else to tell you. But 2 years ago, I'm staying in the house and I'm watching a channel. Some of the students came out and said that one of the professors told them that it was never a Holocaust. Oh my God, I fired up. I fired up good. My husband stood next to me. He says, "Calm down." I says, "Isaac, no. Did you hear what happened?" I said, "I'll be back in 10 minutes. I went to Barbara Banfield. And I come in, I said, "Barbara, meet my broken English. I need to go to find the faculty." This and this I heard. "My dear friends, my dear student, he's no more professor." Thank you. If he could have done this time, when people go on the moon and all that, how can he say that a Holocaust never existed? So thank you for having me. I will take any questions. I want to thank again and again your università, then especially to you and Mr. What is?
Chris Schaefer somewhere down here.
Yeah,
yes.
Schaefer. I want to thank you, Rabbi, for coming in to hear me. And thanks to you and your beautiful wife. And thank you, students and outsiders. I know it's rough, I know it's emotional, but the word has to get out. Thank you.
Let's offer a warm round of applause.